Have you ever stumbled upon a character in a story who appears briefly but leaves a massive impact? A figure so enigmatic, they feel like they belong to a much larger narrative. In the Bible, that character is Melchizedek. His name means King of Righteousness, and his story, though short, is one of the most profound and mysterious in the entire Old Testament. Who was this king and priest, and why does he matter so much? Our story begins in Genesis chapter 14. The great patriarch, Abram, who we later know as Abraham, has just returned from a daring rescue mission. He led a small band of his trained men to defeat a coalition of 4 powerful kings who had captured his nephew, Lot. It was a stunning victory against all odds. As Abram is returning, laden with the spoils of war, he is met by not one, but 2 kings. One is the king of Sodom. The other is Melchizedek, the king of Salem. Now, Salem is believed to be the ancient name for Jerusalem, which means city of peace. But he's not just a king. The Bible tells us he was also the priest of God Most High. This incredible. At a time when paganism was rampant, here is a king in Canaan who worships the one true God, LLE, God Most High. He wasn't part of Abram's family or lineage, yet he served the same God. The meeting between these 2 great men is brief but powerful. Melchizedek brings out bread and wine for Abram and his weary men. This isn't just simple hospitality. It's a priestly act of blessing and provision. Then he blesses Abram, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." It's a powerful affirmation of Abram's faith and God's sovereignty. What happens next is just as significant. In response to this blessing, Abram gives Melchizedek 1/10 of everything he had recovered from the Badalah tithe. This act of giving 1/10 to a priest of God is the very first one recorded in the Bible. It's a spontaneous act of worship and recognition of Melchizedek's superior spiritual authority. Abram, the friend of God, the father of a nation, humbles himself before this mysterious priest-king. And then, just as quickly as he appeared, Melchizedek is gone. He vanishes from the narrative of Genesis, leaving us with so many questions. Who was he? Where did he come from? Was he a historical king, an angel, or something more? The text doesn't say, and this silence is part of what makes him so fascinating. He's like a comet, streaking across the night sky, brilliant, unforgettable, and gone in a flash. But his story doesn't end there. 1,000 years later, King David, in the prophetic Psalm 110, writes about the coming Messiah. He declares, "The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever." In the order of Melchizedek, this links Melchizedek directly to the future Messiah, Jesus Christ. The writer of the New Testament book of Hebrews picks up this thread and explains its incredible significance. He dedicates a large portion of his letter to showing how Jesus is the ultimate high priest, not from the line of Aaron and the Levites, but in the superior order of Melchizedek. The author points out that Melchizedek had no recorded genealogy, no beginning of days or end of life mentioned in Genesis. In this way, he serves as a type or a foreshadowing of Jesus, who is eternal. And just as Abram gave a tenth to Melchizedek, the lesser to the greater, so the Levitical priesthood is shown to be lesser than the priesthood of Christ. Melchizedek's offering of bread and wine also powerfully prefigures the Last Supper, where Jesus would offer bread and wine as symbols of his body and blood, establishing a new covenant. Through Melchizedek, God was giving us a glimpse, a foreshadowing of the eternal, perfect priesthood of his Son, Jesus Christ, who would be both our King of righteousness and our Prince of peace. So, from a brief encounter in Genesis to a prophetic psalm and a deep theological explanation in Hebrews, pointing us to the ultimate King and High Priest, Jesus, he is a beautiful reminder that God's plan of salvation was in motion from the very beginning. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this look into one of the Bible's most mysterious figures, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.